Barbie Thomas, how are you?
I am great. How are you?
I'm great. So it's been a little over a year since we talked last, and just to give the listeners or viewers who may be watching today who haven't heard your story before, if you can give them a quick summary, and then we can get into the nuts and bolts of hanging out.
Sure. Not quite sure what all you want in my summary, but I lost my arms when I was 2.5 in an electrical accident. I climbed into a transformer and burned both my arms badly. And I've also got burns on my legs from where the electricity exited my body. Went through a lot of therapy and a lot of, growing pains growing up, going through all that. And, but still managed to live a very full life, and I'm still, independent and healthy. And, I grew up playing sports. I got into fitness competitions as I got older. I had children and raised children. And in fact, my baby is turning 21 in a couple of days. So, yeah, I'm not sure what else you wanted me to recap on that.
No, I mean, that's great. I mean, those are all the important points, right? I mean, you, as people who may not be watching but listening, you lost your arms at the age of, you said 2, correct? And I remember vaguely last time we talked, you have very, very, very vague recollection of having any arms. I think we talked about that. I remember when we talked last that you said that you had vague memories of laying down and coloring or drawing on something.
Yeah, I think I was with a babysitter or a friend and laying on my tummy on the floor coloring. That's about all I remember.
That's crazy. And you've lived a full life to this point. And you've done so many things that, and what's always impressed me by you and how I found you is that not only have you done things like fitness competitions, things like that, but you've led a normal life. Like, when people always have excuses, like, I don't want to do this because of this, or whatever. You've raised children, you've had jobs, you've done fitness competitions, you cook and clean, you do all the things that you need to do, and you're doing it all with your feet. Like, it's just insane to me.
Yeah, well, I think excuses are stupid, even though, I have my own sometimes and do the same thing and have to, talk to myself and tell myself the same things that I would tell someone else. But for the most part, yeah, excuses they get you nowhere. So.
No, I completely agree. Well, how's the past year been since I talked to you last?
Oh man, so much has happened in the last year. We were just kind of talking about it before you started recording, but
yeah.
Well, of course, all the COVID stuff, which made life crazy for a while and still a little bit not quite back to normal. But I did manage to keep up with all my fitness and working out and doing all that. I got out of a very toxic relationship. I'm now in a very happy, healthy relationship. My kids have really, I don't know, I guess kind of come into manhood a little bit and grown up and both, happy and working, both of them working 2 jobs actually. And it's, I was telling you, it's kind of nice that now when they call me, it's not because they need something. And, I don't see their name come on the phone and go, oh God, right now. I'm happy because they're just calling to chat, just saying hi, telling me some good news or something. So that's pretty awesome. I lost my grandfather earlier this year, actually on Memorial Day, which, that's always sad. But now I've always been close with my grandma, but I feel like we've grown a lot closer since then. So that's been cool. Gotten to see her more and talk to her more, and we've gotten really close. That's pretty cool. Also, we talked last year about the Nubability Camps that I coach at in the summer. And back in May this year, actually long before May, actually for the last few years, they've been asking me to have a camp in Arizona for just the armless kids. So it's the first time they've wanted a specific limb difference, a camp for a specific limb difference. And I've put it off and put it off and put it off. And then last year when they asked me, I finally was like, all the COVID stuff, and then we didn't get to have summer camp last year, I thought, oh, okay, I'll do it. And actually it was awesome. It was kind of a smaller camp. I only had 5 kids this year. But that's kind of normal with the first camp. Also, there were still several people not wanting to fly because of COVID, but it was an awesome experience, and it's going to be a yearly thing from now on. So that's pretty cool.
Well, that's a great organization too. I remember when we talked last time, I know you got me connected with a few people over there, and then I got them connected with some people over here to get some of these kids. It was actually, I got them connected with the Dream Hunt Foundation with some of these. They actually basically take kids out and let them hunt or fish, that may have disabilities or anything, whether it's mental all the way to physical. So it was really awesome to connect them. So that would have never happened had someone I'd known here locally listened to the show and said something to me about you. So thank you for that.
That's awesome how that happens, because Nubability actually, shooting and fishing are 2 of our outdoor sports. So yeah, it fits right in.
It worked out great. So we were talking about over the last year, like what's happened, but so like aside from COVID and all the negative things, what have you seen as like some kind of positive reimbursement, for you, other than, you always seem to be a great positive person, but what's happened in the past year for you?
Normally I try to stay pretty positive. Like I said, I have my days on, normal like anyone else when you can get down. And, I had kind of a rough time last year with some hormonal issues I was having, which are pretty good now. That made a rough time rougher for sure. I'm grateful for my naturopath who helps me even all that stuff out. I don't know. I think, like I said, even though COVID is a negative thing, I think it also brought people together. Yeah. And, I think I'm closer with a lot of people in my life because, we'd get together and hang out. We couldn't all just be out doing our own thing, different places. So, we'd get together, and I think that's pretty cool.
Well, you said you kept up with your fitness, but you didn't mention that you've gotten really into pole fitness, which is awesome because I've been watching this journey for the past year, and you've been doing great. So you want to talk about that a little bit? Because I feel like that's has its whole little, circle, but you've embraced it because of, your physical capabilities and what you've been doing with it. It's just been crazy what you've been doing there.
Right. Yeah. This is actually, it's been 3 years since I started pole. Although my poles are both down right now. I'm waiting for friends who can come over and get them put back up. So I've been kind of bummed about that, but yeah, pole's another one of those things that, I'm limited because of, not having arms, but I focus on what I can do and try to make it better and try to improvise, modify some different skills. And, I work with what I've got and do what I can, and I have fun. It's a challenge, and a challenge is something that I always love and I don't back down from. So it's fun, it's empowering, and I love it. And I always encourage anyone, any woman, anyone, woman, man, whoever who wants to try it, do it. It's harder than it looks. It takes a lot of strength. Because people just think, you just spin around a pole. Well, it's not that easy. Yeah. It's really hard, but it's fun, challenging, empowering, makes you feel good. So do it if you have the chance.
Yeah, I've been watching your journey since we met last year, and it's just been crazy because I know you talked about you're into it already, but I guess you just started displaying that to people here recently. Right. And that's been cool because there's so much to that. The insane amount of core strength it takes and leg strength it takes, you not have any arms is enough as it is, but just that in itself is amazing how much, physical capability it takes to do that and perform any kind of, movements other than just, climbing up and down, basically.
Right. Yeah. And climbing is actually something I have not yet figured out how to do. So for me to get up, I mean, I only can go so high, and sometimes I jump, and I'm still not going to get all the way up to the top, obviously. So someday maybe I'll figure that out. I'll never quit working at it. But yeah, it's been fun. Finally, now like you said, I just recently started displaying that, and most of that, like I said, I was in a toxic relationship, and he had a big problem with me putting anything pole related on social media. And I finally just said, hey, I'm missing a huge platform here where I can really be inspiring to a lot of people, women especially, and I want to do that because I think there's a lot of women who have all four of their limbs, who have all of their abilities, and they're discouraged, and they don't feel sexy, and they don't feel pretty, and they don't feel like they're capable of doing these things. And I want to show them that you can. And sexy is in your attitude. It's not about a certain look or a certain, body shape or size. It's within you, and embrace it. And so I just said, I'm starting an Instagram page that's just my pole stuff. Now I keep it private, and I only add women on there unless it's a man who's, already into the pole or.
I understand. Yeah.
But, so yeah, if you're a man, I'm not going to add you, but there's too many,
No, I get it. No, I completely understand.
Out there, but yeah, so I finally did that, and of course now my polls are down, and I posted nothing. But eventually it'll all be back up and running again. But that's been fun because I think it does inspire a lot of people and motivates a lot of people.
Yeah.
And women especially.
We brought that up, and you just said you sparked a memory for me. So I remember last time we met, you said your polls are down, you've posted nothing. So I remember last time we met, we talked about, like, I want you to post more because I feel like you're such a game changer for anyone who has any kind of self-doubt, right? And then you started posting all these swimming videos, and I was super inspired by those because, oh my God, like, it's amazing to me, like, what you were doing. And like, that just, I got excited, like, because we talked for a little while afterward, and you were like, I'm going to post something, I'm going to post something else, I'm doing this. And I was like, yes.
Inspired to do that. So I'm like, yeah, you're right, I should be posting more. And then someone else, when I said I'm going to be going off social media for a while, which again was not something I really wanted to do, but I kind of thought I needed to for some reasons, but also it was due to that relationship. Someone else said kind of the same thing. You go off social media and you're really doing a disservice to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I'm back on, and the swimming video was, I grew up on swim team, and it's still something I love to do. And I don't go swimming laps very often anymore, but I thought, well, I should get a video and show people.
Yes.
So, well, I got it.
I mean, and and for someone like you, of course, it's going to show something where people feel like, oh my God, I need to get up and do something. But not only that, like, there's so many people that lean on some type of crutch, right? Mm-hmm. Like, and use some type of excuse. With this point, like, look at this woman who has done all these things and she's not crying about anything. Like, look, I'm missing 2 less limbs than you are, and I'm still operating functionally, and I'm also exceeding expectations than most people in normal society do. So, like, when you see that, like, I get so excited when we talk about it, because there's so many people out there that have this self-doubt. I think that's the biggest thing is self-doubt, and it may be, where some people may be a little bit more like scared to share things, or they're not going to try things because it's out of their comfort zone. But at the root of everything, I feel like it's self-doubt.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I can't remember if we talked about it last time, but I always say the mind is a powerful thing. And, you hear everything you tell yourself. So if you're going to keep telling yourself, I can't, then you can't. I mean, you can't. But if you tell yourself you can and believe in yourself and at least try, I mean, my God, if you don't try, how do you know if you can or can't,
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, and I don't know if you've looked at these. I was having this conversation with someone earlier today because I said, hey, I'm going to have Barbie back on my podcast, and they didn't know who you were. And so I was showing them information, And that, basically that you do everything with your feet, and like we move our fingers, you move your toes. And no, I mean, not to that extent, but you're able to use your feet more operational than anyone else, basically, if they have, arms and hands. And I was talking to a physical therapist not too long ago, and it always makes me revert back to you, is that, he was telling me that a lot of times we pronate and we do things because we originally didn't have shoes. So we should be able to move each toe just like we can move each finger, but most people can't do that.
Well, I can't even do that.
Right.
Not quite. I mean, I think I move them a lot better than most people, but
yeah,
that would be hard.
I just think that, it's so awesome that, you're a display of, what we could be and also what we're missing, because at the end of the day, yes, you're missing something, but I feel like we are too. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah. I don't feel like I'm missing anything. I guess because I don't remember really my arms. This is all I know. I don't really feel like I'm missing anything. Once in a while, something comes up that I'm like, oh God, I wish I had arms right now. Not very often, and it could always be worse. So I'm grateful for.
Well, see, that's what's amazing, though, right? Because most people hearing you say those words right there can always be worse. Like, I mean, we're sitting here with these, things that, it's just crazy to me. Like, your attitude is it's amazing.
I mean, I don't care who you are. I don't care what your situation is, or, there's always someone out there who has it worse.
You're exactly right.
So I think we should always count our blessings, and, they say have an attitude of gratitude, and it's true. Be grateful for what, for the positive things in our life and what we do have, and not, can't focus on the negative so much, or focus on what we don't have or can't do, or, it doesn't do any good anyway. So yeah. No, I completely agree. So, well, let's talk about, can we circle back to Nubability for a minute? Of course.
Well, let's talk about that most recent camp you had. So, you said you had a handful of students, and, it was just solely set up with you and what you were talking about doing for a while, and you just started doing. So how did it go? And just tell me a little bit about it.
Well, it was great. I had 5 campers, a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, and a 12-year-old. A couple of them had never been to camp before. One of them is local here, and I've known her since she was born. One of them I've known of since she was born, but she lives in Texas, and I've never been able to meet her yet. So that was pretty cool to meet her. And then a couple of them have already been to Nubability Camps. And then there's the 12-year-old was someone totally new who's never been to any camp. And so it was a fitness camp because I wanted to focus on, strengthening our bodies, strengthening our core, because I feel like when we use our feet, we sit differently to do things, and we really need to keep our core strong. We end up having problems with our backs and our necks and our hips. And I want to really try to help prevent some of those issues as they get older. I had occupational therapists and physical therapists telling me when I was growing up, you need to do this and that, because your back's going to be hurting. By the time you're 30, you're going to be hurting. And I just rolled my eyes. Whatever, 30 so far away. But but they were right. And I do have some of these issues, but I work hard at keeping them at bay, keeping the pain to a minimum. And I just feel like if I can impart that information to these kids and their parents to help prevent some of these problems down the road, then I need to do that. And in the meantime, keeping them healthy and fit and active and strong, flexible. We worked on flexibility, and then we also worked on just day-to-day skills. We had one morning at my house actually where we just worked on anything from, toileting to dressing to eating, anything they needed to work on. Because I feel like there's not a lot of us with no arms. There are more than you probably know, but I feel like it's kind of my responsibility and my duty to pay forward the knowledge and the experience that I have with these kids so that they can be fully functional and fully independent in their lives as well. So, you know, I know there's some things, especially with the teenagers, that is awkward for them or embarrassing or whatever, but I feel like, you know, let's get over it and let's deal with it so that you can be independent.
Yeah. And that's one.
I don't think it has to be awkward. It's just life. It's stuff that we all have to do, you know?
Yeah. I mean, if you've been through that firsthand, right? So how many of these 5 kids were born with that, you know, with none, or what happened? Like, so how many, what are we looking at?
All of them were born without their arms.
Okay.
And we had other coaches without arms here too, just to help out and, you know, be an example and be an inspiration. And yeah, it was awesome. I think every one of them except me has been born without arms.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think it's amazing too, because you're setting an example, and you're giving that experience to those people. Right. So and so what would be something you would say to the kids that were older, not the 5 or 6 year olds, but maybe the 12-year-olds that actually are worried about bullying? Because we talked about that on the last show. Like, I still want to kick that dude's ass and knock your backpack off. I will never forget that. If you ever send me his name, I'm going to find him.
Well, I wish I could go back and kick their asses. But and today I probably would. Back then I was a little too introverted and shy, but today I probably would.
But yeah, so what be some of the things that you would say to those kids who are a little older and who may take ridicule or something like you've been through? You know, the younger kids aren't going to see that yet, but the older ones would. So what would be something that you would talk to them about?
Well, there's a few things. Number one, you can't let everything that people do and say get under your skin. Sometimes you got to have a thick skin, let stuff roll off your back. Sometimes it's not worth a big fight. It's not worth, sometimes it's just not worth it. Another thing is the people who are bullies like that and they're mean to you and they say mean things and do mean things, it really is about them. You know, when they're mean to me, it's not about me. It's because something, within themselves that they're not comfortable with or they're insecure about, or, a lot of people have to belittle other people to make themselves feel bigger, and it doesn't make them a bigger person. But I think when people act like that, it says a lot about them and nothing about me or the person that's being bullied. And I think sometimes we just have to remember that
and I completely,
them, not me,
Yeah, I completely agree. But at that age level, you're always like, you hear that. It's so cliche, right? It's like, don't worry about it. It's okay. It happens. They're an asshole, whatever it may be. But
that doesn't mean don't stand up for yourself, though.
Yeah.
I definitely think you should stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
I don't mean you have to go around kicking everyone's ass.
Right.
My older son did that a lot. I mean, he got in a lot of fights because kids knew if they wanted to push his buttons, they should say something about me. And it got under his skin, and he did kick ass a lot. And I tell him, Jordan, it is not worth it. You cannot go around beating up every kid who says something mean about your mom because I don't have arms. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
Some of them, maybe they needed it, but some of them, like, it's just not worth it. You just can't go around beating up everyone who says something. There's other ways to deal with it. I'm not saying I'm proud of him that he stood up for me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, we can't go through life just fighting everyone either. So
no, I agree. And you're such an activist for selflessness. You show that, in what you do. And I completely agree, because I got enraged the last show. We were talking about, just because you were telling me that story, I was like, I would hit that person. Like, it makes me mad. So I get it. I understand.
Yeah. Oh no, sometimes it does make you mad. And like I said, I don't think you should be just a wallflower and just sit there and take it.
Yeah.
I know that sometimes you're supposed to turn the other cheek or whatever, but also I think there's a time you do need to stand up for yourself. And
well, have you now we're on the subject, have you spoken or talked about bullying, or have you been involved in any kind of organization against that?
No, well, Sam Coonert, he's the founder of Nubability, he does a lot of that. He does seminars and goes to schools and stuff and talks about that kind of stuff. So he does that. I haven't, mainly because I don't know. Sometimes I think people might not like to hear what I have to say about it sometimes. Like I think sometimes it's not worth it, but sometimes you do have to stand up for yourself. And sometimes I think these bullies do need their butts kicked, and that's all it's going to get. I don't think you need to go to schools telling people that's what you should do.
I mean, it's not always that, but I do have someone I'd love to connect you with, and we'll talk about it after the show, who is a huge activist against those things, and who has very, very good success in laying the lines out. And you would be a great person to speak to his audience, just to, because I feel like the thing with the bullying is, of course, sometimes if they know you're going to whoop their ass, they won't bully you, right? But sometimes like there's all kind of angles to approach those situations where you can resolve it without violence, of course. But until you're given that situation or you talk about it, you don't really know how to handle it. So it's more about self-awareness. And I feel like you are full of self-awareness at the end of the day.
Sure. Yeah. And there's only one time there was a girl, she was a bully. It was 8th grade. And gosh, she was so mean every freaking day. And my friend finally said, you need to stand up to her. She wants to fight. Tell her to fight. Tell her, let's go outside. And I guarantee you she'll back down. So that's what happened. I said, fine, let's go do this. And she was like, oh no. Sometimes that works too. But
yeah. I mean, no, but I just feel like that would be something that you may be interested in. Like I said, we'll talk about it later. But I feel like that it's a huge thing, and being someone of dealing with that and going through the motions, and like you said, with your son dealing with that too, you'd be a huge, speaker for that organization, basically.
Yeah.
Well, other than that, let's talk about some positive stuff. So, you said you just recently got out of a toxic relationship. I'm not going to get into personal details, but now, you seem to have a new glow about you. I know last time we talked, we were talking about a few things. You said I'm dealing with some stuff, and I was like, okay. And then recently we since reconnected, and you seem like you're back up to speed. You seem bright and shining. So
yeah, I have someone new in my life. I met him a few months ago, and it's been awesome. He lives a couple hours away from me, but so far that hasn't been a problem, which is kind of weird because I've dated people who live in Scottsdale, which is about 40 or 45 minutes from me. And that was way too far to go. 2 hours. Yeah, no problem.
Well, no, that's awesome though. I mean, that just means you're in a better place, right?
It's funny that you just said I have a glow about me, because the first time he saw me, that's what he said. He said, I had just this amazing glow about me. He knew he just had to meet me. And then I was gone, poof. And then I was back a few weeks later, and he saw me, and here we are now, 2.5 months later or whatever.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, and I'm serious, because a lot of times you see people and they're going through something, you may not know about it until you hear about it later. Right. And you see them again, and you didn't realize it the first time you saw them. You see them again, you're like, okay, something's different about them. Whether it be, someone, they always say that about someone who's pregnant, or someone who is in a new relationship. Oh man. But yeah. So, other than that, what are some things that you may want to talk about that we might not have got to cover on the last episode? Basically just, I feel like the audience is so broad that at the end of the day, what's some message you would have for people who may be holding back on something, no matter what it is?
Yeah, don't hold back. I mean, don't, because I think when you hold back stuff or don't do something that you want to do, or don't say something that you want to say, or don't try something you want to try, whatever it may be, it's something you're going to regret later. And I think, what have you got to lose? Try it, maybe you won't succeed, but at least you won't regret it. At least you won't be 80 years old someday going, God, I wonder if I could have done that,
Yeah.
I think regret sucks. So don't hold back anything. Just go for it and do it. Try it.
Well, it means so much. Like, it just, for me, like hearing you say that, it's just powerful. And people who, who take those things for granted, you know what I mean? Like us as human beings, we take everything for granted, right? But people who are regular functioning and have everything, and they're operational, they're fully healthy, they lean on things, and mostly it's insecurities. And we didn't talk about this a lot last show, but what are some of your insecurities?
I don't have a lot of insecurities.
Well, that's amazing. That's great.
I think we all have some, a little bit. That's a hard question. Let me think on that. Maybe we can come back to it.
Hey, I'm not trying to hold you at gunpoint here. I just thought about it because I feel like that you're such a positive person. Most positive people who are so upfront with everything, they don't seem to have a lot of those, but I just want to know if you had any.
Yeah. I mean, of course, I'm trying to think about that and put it into words, but
yeah,
if we could back to the no regrets and let me give an example.
Sure. Let's do it.
When I was wanting to compete in fitness, I knew for a long time I wanted to do that, but I doubted myself. And, well, what if they don't let me compete? Or what if I'm not allowed because I don't have arms? Or what if I, don't do well? What if I get up there to do my routine and I slip and fall? Or whatever. I had all these what ifs, and it was a couple of good friends of mine who encouraged me and said, why are you doubting yourself? How are you going to know if you don't try? And they're right. And if I had not done that, I might have, 45 years old now, I might have been going, God, I wonder if I could have done that. I wonder if that would have been fun, and now, because I went out there and did it, and it was, the first time was scary as hell, but it was in my blood after that, and I didn't want to stop, and had so much fun. And look how many years I had of competing in fitness and having fun and meeting new people and learning new things and bettering myself, because I finally got rid of the self-doubt and just did it.
Yeah.
So now I can't regret that because I did it.
Well, that's interesting you brought that up. Do you have any regrets?
With the competing stuff or
anything?
Yeah, maybe some things I wouldn't want to say on here.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
Of course, I think everyone has insecurities. Everyone has regrets.
Yeah.
There's some things in my life I, of course, wish I wouldn't have done, but at the same time, all those things make me who I am today.
I love that you just said that. I love that you just said that.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I can look, when anyone says anything about they regret something, but they don't follow it up with that, which 9 times out of 10, you never hear that. That's amazing to me, because you're exactly right. If you do have a regret, at the end of the day, it made you who you are currently right now. And at this state, we can see and we can hear that you are happy. So right at the end of the day, what does it matter?
Right. Yeah, I think they're all experiences. Some things maybe we wish we hadn't experienced, but, and I tell my kids this all the time. Okay, you made a mistake. Okay, you slipped up, but learn from it.
Well, yeah.
That's something that's good that comes from it is that you had a lesson and you learn from it and you don't do it again, or, you can do things better in the future, do things differently.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah. There's things in my life I've done that I'm not proud of and that maybe I regret, but I've learned from them, hopefully. Sometimes I have to learn the lesson multiple times. I have a friend, one of my best friends, Kathy, she always says, the universe will teach us these lessons over and over and over again until we learn them.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to go through things more than once before we finally get it. But yeah, learn from it.
So you're hard-headed. That's what you're trying to say.
I am. I'm a Leo.
I am too. I'm hard-headed too.
I'm also my father's daughter. Yes, double whammy.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, I think it's great. I think it's great that you can actually be real about that, right? Because most people just tiptoe around those subjects. You know what I mean?
I also think my stubbornness has gotten me to where I am, because I think if I wasn't stubborn, I probably would have given up on a long time ago. And I think part of it is my attitude of, when someone tells me I can't do something, it pisses me off and lights a fire under me and makes me say, watch me, so I think that's just part of my stubbornness.
And that's another interesting thing too. So what would be your encouragement if someone in your position or similar, do not have that stubbornness? What would be your advice to them? Some people, because some people are just, they're just timid. They're introverts. Like you said, you were in high school,
Was a lot of self-talk. I have to do that still sometimes, look myself in the mirror and look at myself in the eyes and give myself some positive talk, some positive affirmations, a kick in the pants. Also, I've got a lot of good friends, and when I'm going through stuff, they don't just tell me what I want to hear. They tell me what I need to hear and give me that kick in the pants. And sometimes some people might say, well, that's harsh, what they said or whatever, but sometimes that's what I need, especially because I'm so stubborn. I think I need to hear it. Like, I don't want people to tell me what they think I want to hear.
Yeah.
Be real with me.
Yeah.
And I think we've all got it somewhere inside of us. Find that drive, find that motivation. I think if you find what motivates you, you'll do what you got to do. Yeah.
I think it's interesting too that you said that, because everyone figures this out if they don't, I feel bad, but it's all about the company you keep. And it's so cliche. There's another cliche thing we talk about, right? But if you have a core group of people around you, and everyone knows this, as you get older and as you go through things, you slowly get a smaller group of friends in the core group there. And that if you have those people that are real and who lean, you lean on them, but they also lean on you, and they know who you are, then it's really great, because they can, just like you said, no matter if it's hurts your feelings or not, they're going to keep it real with you, right?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, who cares if they hurt my feelings, if it helps me in the end?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's so true about who you hang with. I used to always tell my kids that, and I know they would roll their eyes and think I'm crazy, but I used to tell them, who you hang with is who you become like, and think about who you're hanging with. And now it's true, because both of them have a very small circle of friends now, because they realized that those people they were hanging with weren't good for them.
Yeah.
Even a younger son now, who, man, we've been through some rough times the last few years, is finally saying, oh yeah, I've been starting to hang with this person, hanging with that person, and man, they're really successful and they're so smart about this and that. And, they're really motivated and they've got goals, the same goals that I have. And so I'm like, man, it's good to hear my kids.
Yes.
And not trying to hang with people who, are goal oriented and motivated and successful and are going places in life,
Well, and it really is exciting too, because I remember looking back, and I tell people this too, is you slowly disassociate yourself with those people who don't have common likes or interests. Not that there's anything against those people, right, but you just don't align anymore. Things have changed. You have new goals, you have new outlooks. So your circle has to change. And it seems to be that it always gets smaller and more compact, because your outline or your basically your vision on what you want seems to be clearer, as you get older. Hopefully, sometimes that's clouded, but it always is by something,
True. And, there's certain people, I've kind of been around certain people who I feel like maybe their energy just kind of clashes with mine, or maybe they just energy that drains you and brings you down. And I just don't want to be around that, Sometimes it's like, okay, I love you, I wish you well, but keep those people at a very safe distance, because
I couldn't agree more. I mean, negative brews more negative, right? And positive brews more positive. This is what it is. I mean, it's how it works.
It's heavy sometimes. Sometimes that negativity just feels like heavy. So I don't want it.
Well, before we wrap up, is there anything, like any last words, any advice? And it may be look, at the end of the day, like you're very rare, right? There's not a lot of people that have your certain disability, but anyone with a disability or any just regular average Joe, who may be going through some things, what would be your advice?
I would say lean on your friends when you need to. I think how many suicides and stuff we've heard about lately, especially I think during COVID, there's been so many, because people think they have to just deal with things on their own and internalize everything. And I don't care what you're going through, find someone to talk to, lean on your friends, lean on someone you trust to help you through things. And life doesn't have to be all that bad, yes, sometimes negative things happen, bad things happen. Not everything is sunshine and rainbows all the time, but we have the rain and we have the storms, but they can't last forever. So remember that. And like I said earlier, there's always someone who's got it worse.
Yeah.
Focus on the positive things, have that attitude of gratitude. And that doesn't mean that other people are going to make you happy, because I always say happiness is an inside job, and that's something else from Kathy.
Shout out to Kathy, first off.
You should have her on your show. She is just wisdom, but I love her. But happiness is an inside job, and you've got to find that within yourself, and you can't, even though, yes, you lean on your friends, you can't depend on everyone else to make you happy. You got to do that on your own. So, yeah.
Well, look, I couldn't agree more. And I feel like that we're probably going to do a couple more episodes because like I said, you're a shining light. You're a shining light to people who may have self-doubt. At the end of the day, that's what I think, I think that there's so many people that are out there that you're so selfless and you don't seem to have any self-doubt. And there's so many people out there that do have self-doubt. And when they look at someone who may be restricted, sometimes it just clicks, and I feel like some people need that,
Yeah. And sometimes I get talking and I think, God, why did I just say that? And then I find out later, someone was listening and that's what they needed to hear. So I go with my gut and just speak my mind, I guess.
Well, look, it's been great today. I'm glad you came back. I was glad to have you on again. And I'm glad to see you're in a better position. You seem to be happy, and it's so awesome because I want to spread your word. And as it stands right now, you're my number one episode on YouTube. So we'll see. We'll see if we will see if we can beat that with this second episode. But it's really exciting because I get a lot of feedback. I get a lot of people. I was at a restaurant a few months ago, and someone come up to me and said, "You had Barbie Thomas on your podcast." I said, "Yeah, I did. She's awesome." She's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe it." And that's the reason she started listening to my podcast. So thank you so much for your time. And I feel like that we're spreading some positivity around here. At the end of the day, that's all that matters, right? That's what matters. Let's do it. And next time, let's post some more current pictures. That was my grandma. Look, that was my grandma that said, "Did you cut
your hair, or is this an old picture?
I didn't know that was, I felt bad. I should have asked you for a current photo. I just pulled one online.
Grandma, I'm like, no, Grandma, that's a really old picture.
Well, look, it's so great to see you and catch up with you again. And any last words, any last plugs, anything you want to talk about?
No, I think that was it. I mean, if we want to talk about Nubability again, they're
Sure.
always in need of donations. It costs a lot of money to put on these camps, and we do not only the big summer camp, but little mini camps and all over the country all year long, and it costs a lot of money to do that. So anytime anyone can donate anything monetarily, it's greatly appreciated. And so nubability.org is where you can do that.
Okay, well, I'll definitely include a link when we launch this thing and let everyone know too, like we did last time. But other than that, thank you so much for being on. Everyone, please subscribe to the podcast. Barbie Thomas, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.